Call the meeting to order, please, with a roll call.
Legislator Frost,
Here.
Legislator Calamus,
Here.
Legislator Mosier. Here. Legislator Leindecker,
Here.
Legislator Nortz.
Here.
Legislator Hanno,
Here.
Legislator Leviker,
Here.
Legislator Osborne,
Here.
Legislator Nellenbach,
Here.
and Legislator Dahlhoff.
Here. Would everyone please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, and Legislator Calamus will lead us in the invocation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts this beautiful day in March. We are all looking for an early arrival of spring. And we celebrate March as Maple Month and bless over all the maple producers in our area that they have a bountiful harvest. We also lift up all the brave troops that are in harm's way, surround them with your mighty protection, and guide our leaders with wisdom, justice, and a swift path to a resolution. And as always, we humbly seek your guidance. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The February 3rd, 2026 minutes have been distributed, and if there are no amendments or corrections, they stand approved. We have no proclamations or recognitions tonight, so we'll move to public hearings, of which we have 4. First one being requests and recommendations of the Lewis County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board for inclusion of 3 parcels located in the town of Martinsburg, the town of Watson, and the town of Lewis, respectively. Next is the proposed addition of approximately 580 feet to the Lewis County OHV trail system. Third is the introductory local law number 1-2026, a local law permitting all-terrain vehicle operation on certain portions of Byron's Corners Road, CR 49, in the town of West Turin. Last is the introductory local law number 2-2026, a local law permitting all-terrain vehicle, off-highway vehicle operation on portions of County Road 47, the Fish Creek Road, approximately 3.4 miles in the town of West Turin and Lewis, to connect the existing OHV trail system from the trail on the Tyrone D. Costantino's parcel to the trail on Kevin Emmerich's parcel. So we will go back to the first recommendations of the Lewis County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board. Is there anyone here that would like to comment on that public hearing, that public law? Seeing no interest, how about the proposed addition of approximately 580 feet to Lewis County OHV trail system? Third, introductory local law 1-2026, permitting all-terrain vehicle operation on certain portions of Byron's Corners Road in the town of West Turin. And then lastly, introduction of local law 2-2026, a local law permitting all-terrain vehicle, off-highway vehicle operation on portions of County Road 47, which is a Fish Creek Road, approximately 3.4 miles in the towns of West Turin and Lewis, to connect the existing OHV trail system from the trail on the Tyrone D. Constantino's parcel to the trail on Kevin Emmerich's parcel. Any interest there? We'll leave those public hearings open for a few minutes in case someone shows up. And we will move to the report of the Finance and Rules Committee per Rule 6, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Rules Committee has met, and they recommend to waive rules to act upon late resolutions.
Need a motion? Moved by Herb, second by Josh. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? That carries. We do not have any presentations tonight, so we will move to privilege of the floor. We have one person that signed up to speak. Mr. Wagner, if you'd like to approach the board and make your comments, you have 5 minutes. Please state your name and your address for the record.
All right. Hi, I'm Wyatt Wagner. You said my address? Okay. It's 9502 State Route 12, Apartment 2, Copenhagen, New York.
Thank you.
My name is Wyatt Wagner. As a professional peer advocate, the executive director of Youth of Lewis County, and someone with a background in health and human services, I'm here to speak not on just Resolution 57-2026, but the broken system that allowed it to be drafted in the first place. Since Pat Freilich left, the Community Services Board has devolved into a system that operates entirely unchecked. What is supposed to be an oversight body has instead become an echo chamber. Look at the current composition of the CSB. It is stacked with county employees and agency representatives who are directly receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding. That is not community representation. That is blatant conflict of interest designed to rubber stamp decisions behind closed doors. The manipulation of this board's leadership is an open secret. When Pat informed this body that she was retiring, the legislators deliberately engineered the secession. You manufactured an assistant position out of thin air, placing Anna in that role specifically so she could have the requisite experience when the director position officially opened. You forced the CSB's hand, ensuring she was the only viable choice on paper. And yet, even with this manufacture, Lewis County is now forced to contract with Jefferson County's director just to fulfill the basic statutory requirements of the job. You engineered an appointment for someone unqualified, and now the county has to outsource parts of her job to a neighboring county just to remain compliant. Now we are seeing the results of that appointment. A director who uses her position to settle scores and consolidate control. Look at how she treats the System of Care Committee. The current SPO coordinator, Jamie Roberts, has spent the last 10 years building that committee into a vital resource for this community. In response, this director has not only stripped funding from the Systems of Care in her budget, but she has actively attempted to shut the committee down entirely. It is no coincidence that at the exact same time she is trying to dismantle Jamie's committee, she is pushing Resolution 57-2026 to strip the OMH single point of access services away from Thrive. This isn't just an administrative shift. It is a coordinated effort to defund a community partner by over $40,000 for the remainder of the year alone, effectively taking Jamie's position away. This is a personal vendetta for control, and it is happening with your tacit approval. The resolution explicitly claims that the moving these services in-house is a more manageable and cost-effective means of doing business. Let's look at the reality of that claim. Jamie has been an absolute anchor for these families, navigating the complex needs of our youth with dedication that you simply cannot replace overnight. And human services, trust, and continuity are everything. The county just automatically renewed this contract for 2026. By voting yes to this resolution today, you are actively choosing to rock a ship that hasn't even set sail. You are creating unnecessary waves, severing a vital lifeline, and stripping an established trusted advocate away from the vulnerable people who rely on her, just to hire an entirely new person to do the exact same work. You say this is to save money, but cutting a $40,000 contract payment for the second half of the year does not equal savings if you are simply moving the exact workload onto the county payroll. When you factor in the state retirement system, health insurance, and long-term benefits for a county employee, you aren't saving the taxpayers a dime. You're just shifting the financial burden to expand the department's payroll and control. When advocates in this county refuse to be silenced about these power grabs, we are met with retaliation. But I'm not here to protect anyone's ego. I'm here to protect the youth of this county. By allowing a department head to weaponize her budget to settle personal scores, you are failing this county, you're failing our families, and you're failing the youth. You are failing the most vulnerable people in Lewis County who cannot afford to be collateral damage in this administration's turf war. I urge you to reject Resolution 57-2026 and look closely at the conflicts of interest sitting on the Community Services Board. And remember who you are actually elected to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Is there anyone else who would like privilege of the floor to offer any comments? Please come forward, sir, and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Morgan Roberts. I am the husband of Jamie Roberts. I don't rear my head out of my daily life, out of my kids' life, out of my family's life unless I need to. But this has kind of brought my attention, and so I just want to state that this doesn't affect the community, just on a broad basis. It affects the community on a singular basis as well. I have watched my wife build SPOA. I have heard the accolades. I have heard the concerns. Even in my own passing in this community, I have had people come up and talk to me about what she does. And I have a slight idea of what she does, but a good understanding. I myself am a surgical tech, which means most of my time is spent talking to people who are about to go under either life-saving surgery or some sort of, evasive surgery. So my accomplishment into the community, I feel, is just that. Hers, I feel, is a little bit bigger in a way because she's not just providing a service, she's opening pathways. She's telling people who have a certain narrative in their head that no one cares about them, but in actuality, there is a community here that does care about them. They just have to pull some self-deprecating veil from their eyes and see it for themselves with their own motivation. Jamie just puts it out there. As you know, the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but it takes the horse to drink it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Yes, ma'am.
Schoen. I have worked personally with Jamie Roberts for close to 15 years. Approximately 2 years ago, I was in a emotionally and psychologically domestic marriage. I worked with her and saw how she worked. However, I've never actually been privileged to reap the benefits of actually being a client of hers. Seeing from the outside how she works is one thing, but actually being a client of hers is an entirely different ball of wax. She made me feel like I was her only client. She took so much time in providing me with resources that I didn't even know were available in the county. Having worked in this county and been born and raised in this county my entire life, I had no idea what was available. Not only did she get me out of my marriage, out of the house, into a place of my own, she helped me get back on my feet. 2 years later, I am now full-time employed again. I am now writing my experience in a book that is now about ready to be published about my experience with a narcissistic husband. Without her, I honestly and truly don't know where I'd be. I can't imagine anybody putting in the amount of time that she did. I can't imagine anybody as dedicated as her in that position. If it wouldn't be for her, I honestly and truly don't know where I'd be. My husband, we found out, was literally poisoning me, and without her helping me get to resources and services, the CDC would not have been involved to find out what I was being poisoned with. So I honestly and truly, without her help and without her assistance, I literally probably would not be here today to talk on her behalf. And I cannot thank her enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is not meant to be a debate or back and forth with the board. When this resolution comes up for a vote, there will be some discussion at that time that you're welcome to stay and listen to the discussion, and you may have an better understanding of where we're at with this. So I'll leave it at that. Anyone else for privilege of the floor? And we will move move to the clerk of the board report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I only need to report tonight that I received the 2025 annual reports from the following departments: Human Resources and Civil Service and the Sheriff's Department. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Cassandra? Thank you. Standing committee reports. We'll start with General Services Committee with Legislator Levicker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. During last week's committee meeting, the Highway Superintendent, John Reed, delivered a presentation outlining the performance measurement framework used by the Highway Department, allowing with a review of the department's 2025 data. Election Commissioners Lindsay Burris and Ramona Carpenter followed with a presentation on the proposed off-cycle election fee policy, emphasizing the importance of recovering the associated operational costs. The meeting concluded with a presentation from Lewis County Snowmobile Association Vice President Mike Levicker, who reported on the 24-25 snowmobile crash statistics for Lewis County, noting that only 25 crashes were recorded during the season. I have no motions, and that will conclude my report.
Any questions for Josh? Thank you. Human Services Committee with Legislator Kalmus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. During last week's committee meeting, Community Development Specialist Lauren Tabalt delivered a presentation on electrical usage cost trends covering the period from July 24 to January 26. The analysis highlighted a notable increase in January attributed to primarily higher kilowatt supply charges as confirmed through level bill comparisons between November 25th, 2025 and January 2026. 3 resolutions were requested to be brought forward for consideration at this evening's meeting by motions that were adopted. The first request was the creation of a part-time jail cook position. The second seeks approval to amend the Thrive Wellness and Recovery Agreement with Community Services effective June 1, 2026. And the third was proposes establishing a second mental health coordinator position effective immediately with continuation contingent upon the availability of state aid and revenue sources to support the associated costs. That is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Tom? Thank you. Finance and Rules Committee with Legislator Moser, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. During last week's committee meeting, Information Technology Director Connor delivered a presentation on the proposed disaster recovery capital project. The presentation addressed anticipated recovery timelines, organizational risk tolerance, and the cost considerations associated with various redundancy options, including full active redundancy, warm spares, and cold spares. Planning and Community Development Director Cassandra Buell provided a brief update on the next steps for the Lewis County Land Bank Initiative. The overview included legal requirements, incorporation task, potential funding avenues, and the recommended board composition. Director Buell emphasized that submitting the application in March remains the immediate priority. I don't have any motions, Mr. Chairman, so that's my report.
Questions? Thank you. Reports of special committees, the Hospital Board of Managers and Advocate Drum with Legislator Nortz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to start out by recognizing the Employee of the Month up to the hospital, Jessica Nichols, and also the Employee of the Year, who was voted on by all the staff at the hospital, John Hopple. There was a loss of $276,000 for January compared to a budgeted loss of $420,000. The year-to-date loss is $276,000 versus a budgeted loss of $420,000. At this time, with your permission, I'd like to defer to Mr. Kayer. He has some information on a Ford Drum tour that occurred at the hospital.
Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. A few updates. The Fort Drum Tour, Colonel Elizabeth Duquet and many members of her leadership came last week. Representative North Nortz was part of the group that welcomed. It was a constructive visit. A big part of the focus was the surgical pavilion and time spent in the ORs. Our OB and OBGYN service, and time was spent on the maternity unit, med-surg, medical surgical, and the women's health practice. We have established a strong working relationship with Fort Drum. In fact, this is a second visit by the leadership there over the last 6 months. We continue to grow the service lines. It's going well beyond maternity. We should note that we have 175 deliveries scheduled for the next 6 months. And if we continue at this pace, we will be challenging some of the all-time numbers of deliveries going back, a number of years. Also, wanted to share, we've had 2 significant signings. We signed a family practice, an internal medicine physician who will be assigned to one of our family practices. Unable to report who it is at this point as he works through the various notices that need to be given. And last week, we also signed a family nurse practitioner to add to the team in women's health. So these are significant signings. What's different about these 2 is that there are relationships in our part of the North Country that these folks have. And the last thing I'll report on is, in the past, I've reported on the Caring Gene Career Pathways Initiative. The RHCF, the nursing home, was the first facility to be awarded Caring Gene designation, which meant we essentially became the host to young people who were going through the LPN program at the BOCES Center. And we employed 9 individuals with Lewis County addresses who their entire college tuition was paid for by the Caring Genes grant. Over the last couple of weeks, we've expanded that now to all of the other sections of the health system, to include Beaver River, the Certified Home Health Agency, Copenhagen Family Health, Harrisville Health, the Lewis County Family Practice, Lewis County General Hospital, Lewis County Internal Medicine, the South Lewis Health Center, the South Lewis School Base Health Center, and the Women's Health OBGYN service. What this means is if there is a person who attends one of our local schools and achieves the designation of LPN, RN, any number of healthcare specialties, and they are employed by us, then their tuition is covered. So that's in this day and age of increased, school loans for students. So we have really been focused on Lewis County individuals because there's greater likelihood they will stay here for the long haul. So with that, do you have any questions for me this evening? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more thing to add. I had a report from Tiffany at Fort Drum about the ridership of the Alpine Express, and it's increasing. It's up to 13%. They're looking on adding another route to the base, which will add another location, another bus stop, which I find kind of interesting because they figure that it will increase ridership a lot because there will be a Popeyes opening up on base, and they figure the soldiers will be able to increase their rides a little bit more. So I just want to share that with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Vinnie? Thank you. Back to the 4 public hearings we have. Is there anyone here that would like to make any comments on any one of those public hearings? Yes, sir.
Again, my name is Morgan Roberts. This in regards to what this gentleman was talking about.
Mr. Kayer?
Yes. Now, as far as the LPN program, was that just be designated towards just nursing or other avenues of healthcare? Like, say, LPNs can do a tech job now. They could actually go into other aspects of that field as well. Would that be an avenue open to them if they decided to choose that?
For our institution.
Yes, just for your institution.
It depends on what the openings are in, and if it would be LPN specific to the LPN positions we have on our health system.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no interest, we will now close the public hearings and we will move to the county manager report with Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. I'd like to address a number of events that happened this month that really make Lewis County a special place. And I really want to kind of focus on our volunteer firefighters and EMS because it was a very, very busy month here. So first of all, we had the Boonville church fire. And just to give you an example of how things work in Lewis County, Bob McKenzie got a call. He immediately went down there, even though it's not in Lewis County. We don't worry about jurisdiction or county lines. Bob got there. He immediately called back to the county office building and said, I need a command trailer. I need lights. I need all sorts of stuff. Buildings and grounds deployed their crews immediately to start making sure that stuff was ready. Highway sent people over and hooked to it and got it down there to help respond to our neighbors. And that is what makes Lewis County a special place. Shortly after that, on Friday, 2/20, we had a quick snow and it was very icy out. And many of you may know there was an accident on Route 26 with 7 people. Some soldiers from Fort Drum in a transport van were transported to the hospital. And there was an additional 2 people on 177 that were in an accident, with a total of 9 people transported at the same time in Lewis County. That overwhelms our system. The hospital was scrambling. Our ambulance services were scrambling. And I'd like to shout out to Port Leyden because Bob was able to get the volunteers to come in and they actually stood post in the station, ready to respond for the next event because we also had a structure fire going on at the same time. So it just goes to show you how everyone pulls together in the county to make sure this stuff happens. The next event I want to focus on is the New Bremen church fire. Volunteer fire department spent 72 hours up there. And if you remember, it was sub-zero weather. It was below zero. They were out there for quite a while. On Tuesday morning, they had a rekindle and an unsafe structure with the steeple still standing. They called the highway department and the fire chief requested that the county respond with a track hoe to pull the remains of the building down. The county highway department always responds to the fire departments to assist in those activities. And under the direction of the chief, the highway department pulled the steeple down and it was in the road. The chief asked the highway department to load the material up and drive it across the road and put it in a pile. And in so doing, somebody called the New York State Department of Labor and the DEC, initiating an investigation for illegally transporting asbestos material. It has created an investigation against the fire department and against the highway department. And this has led the county to consider if the county highway department should, in the future, be helping the fire departments. And I'm going to tell you that the answer is yes. We talked about whether we should have contracts and insurance and all of those things. And I'm going to tell you that that's what ruins a small community, is bureaucracy and regulation and that type of behavior. What makes Lewis County special is everybody shows up when people are in need. Whether it's flooding, whether it's a fire, whether it's car accidents, everybody just shows up. And we're going to continue to do that as long as those things don't continue to happen. So I just want to put that out there. And then again, on 12/28, right here, just this last weekend, there was a fire in the town of Copenhagen that was directed by the fire chief in the town of Rodman. Once again, they called the highway department and we've told them, yes, it doesn't matter, show up and help. And we showed up and pulled that to the ground. was able to help remove the hot spots so that the volunteer firemen can get home and get home safely. So that has been our month. We've had a lot going on here, and I just wanted to report on that. So thank you.
Any questions for Tim? If not, we'll move to the county treasurer report with Mr. Verkler.
Thank you very much. You have my written report. I'm just going to give you two highlights. It is the season of the year where we are looking at renewals, the premium rates for our health insurance plan. So within the next couple of weeks, we will be having those discussions with GKG and with our ad hoc committee to look at those potential rate increases for our June 1st renewal period. And we'll be back to you with information on that. And the second thing I would note in my report, it's about in the middle of the page. First, I'm going to note that I have an error in the date. On the total fund balance line, it should be through January. So those numbers are reflective through the end of January in 2026. And I wanted to point out, and I have this written in my comments, that you have to consider the timing of the year and how our revenues and expenses are recognized in a modified accrual accounting basis. And we're not going to get detailed into accounting, but what that's showing you is that we've recognized all of our property taxes for the year. So the revenue is high, the fund balance looks high, and I wanted to just point that out to you. That's because we use a modified accrual basis, and all of our revenue, most of our revenue is in for the year. Expenses are on a monthly basis. Does that make sense? Okay. Wanted to highlight that, and I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Eric. Report of the Finance and Rules Committee per Rule 7, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Rules Committee reports that they have examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $2,566,148.72 and recommend that they be audited and allowed for the amounts claimed.
Someone like to move that? Tom Kalmus, second by Josh. Discussion. All in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Carries. Moving to resolutions, we are pulling for individual vote number 55, 56, 57, 60, 61, 62, 63, 68, 69, 70, 71, 78, and 79. Are there any additional ones that anyone would like to vote on individually? Seeing no interest, would someone like to make a motion to pass them in the balance as a consent resolution? Moved by Jessica, second by Herb. Discussion. All in favor? Anyone opposed? And the consent packet carries.
Resolution number 55-2026 is auditing and allowing claims in the amount of $2,566,148.72.
Moved by Vince, second by Tom Osborne. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairperson, I have to recuse myself from this vote. There are no payments made payable to me, but there is one based upon a voucher I approved.
Please note that in the minutes. And this is a roll call vote.
Legislator Calamus.
Yes.
Legislator Nortz.
Yes.
Legislator Lindecker.
Yes.
Legislator Osborne.
Yes.
Legislator Leviker.
Yes.
Legislator Hanno.
Yes.
Legislator Nellenbach.
Yes.
Legislator Frost.
Yes.
Legislator Mosier has recused herself, and Legislator Dahlhoff.
Yes.
Resolution number 56-2026, resolution amending compensation plan with reference to the Community Services Department.
Someone like to move that, please? Moved by Vince, second by Jessica. Discussion. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Resolution carries.
Resolution number 57-2026 is resolution authorizing modification to agreement between the County of Lewis on behalf of Lewis County Community Services and Thrive Wellness and Recovery Incorporated.
Someone like to move it, please? Herb, do I have a second? Tom Kelmus, discussion.
Yes. I'd just like to make sure there's no lapse in services in this situation, to make sure that the identified services and the residents that are in need of those services are not, there's no lapse in that service from what we are doing.
Yes, we've been assured that there'll be no lapse in service. And Anna has spoken with the director of Thrive, and he's in agreement with this course of action.
Thanks.
And also those services through Thrive are going to continue until June 1st, I think it is, or, yeah. So there won't be any lapse in service.
I think it's always better to be proactive than reactive. And it looks like this is the way the state's kind of leaning anyways, with the way these services are administered. So in my mind, by creating this efficiency and bringing this position under Anna's department, that's just going to create an opportunity for a higher level of patient care.
We hire someone new, how long will it take them to get up to speed?
I don't believe that there should be much of a lead time. It is a civil service position, though, so we have to post it, go through the interview process, and then they do have to test eventually. But it should be able to get them up and running fairly quickly.
This is, this position's open to anyone, right?
I can't answer the qualifications for the job posting. I actually looked at it today, but I didn't look to see if it required a bachelor's degree or, what the actual criteria were. But all civil service jobs do have some criteria, and I'm not 100% sure. Anna, do you know off the top of your head what the criteria is?
Do you want me to come up?
Please come to the microphone.
I also don't have them memorized, but there's options as far as mixture, bachelor's degree and so many years of experience in a relevant human services field, or a master's degree and a certain number of years in a human services field. I also looked at it today, but don't have it memorized. But there are options.
Assuming that the person that's currently offering these services qualifies, there's nothing that prohibits her from applying for and potentially being accepted for this new position.
That is correct.
Okay. Number two, this is contingent on us receiving a grant covering all of the expenses.
Not a grant, but state aid.
State
So I
aid
just wanted,
covering all
because
the
a grant is a
expenses.
one-time thing, state aid is continuing. So this is a state aid funded position.
So what are we expected to save by doing this?
Right now, we fund 2 positions at community service with taxpayers' dollars. We are going to fund one of them completely with state aid, and the other one is going to be about 70% funded by state aid. So it's going to reduce the taxpayer share by a little over $40,000, I believe.
Also, you'll have retirement costs and health benefits on that.
That is with figuring those in. That is the burden labor costs.
Any other comments? Any
What
other
if we table
discussion?
this and talk about it a little more? And
Are you making a motion to table it? Do I have a second on that? Discussion on tabling this and for later discussion. Any discussion?
Is there any time frame involved to where there'd be an issue?
If I could just answer that, you've already passed Resolution 58. So I think in terms of a time frame, maybe there is.
Anna, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just want to make sure we're talking, so I have two motions on the table, two resolutions on the table tonight. One has been already passed to add the second mental health services coordinator position. That's completely funded by state aid. That's using the new assisted outpatient treatment and enhanced voluntary agreement funding. So that was the resolution that you just passed prior. This is the resolution to pull a service in that's currently contracted out to Thrive. The dollars that we send to Thrive would cover the entire salary of the second mental health services coordinator position in my department. Their fringe and other expenses will also be covered by state aid that I already receive. If both of these resolutions are passed, the only taxpayer dollars would be covering essentially my salary and fringe, which would ultimately result in a annual cost saving of about $70,000. Right now, there's about $170,000 invested in personal services in this department. By passing these two resolutions, it'd be down to about $100,000.
Anything else?
My question is, what do you feel uncomfortable with something in this particular, or is there more information that we should be looking for?
I just like I'd like to talk to Jamie. I'd like to see,
Well, for me, I kind of agree. I don't understand just exactly what Thrive does and how involved they are. It does sound like she does a great job. I'm not ever going to put somebody's position down or what they do, but we do want to make sure that we are having good coverage for citizens.
I would point out that none of these resolutions are directed toward an individual person. They're directed toward the fact that Thrive is running the SPOA or the single point of access. And the issue that New York State is concerned about, and they're moving toward a change, and Herb alluded to it, is that they're actually referring people to agencies, the SPOA person, and they're referring people to their own agency at times. And that's where New York State is saying that's really not independent. And we recommend that that person be independent of the agencies that are receiving the funds. So that's really what's driving a lot of this.
Tim, I might have missed this. Did you say the director of Thrive was in support of this? Yes. Okay.
As is the Office of Mental Health, because I do know that Anna contacted them before presenting all of this to the board.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to hold this up and send it back to committee. I believe, Barry, is that your intention? So all in favor of tabling this until and sending it back to the next committee meeting? So I see two hands for tabling it.
All against tabling.
Yeah, do it. Okay.
All who are opposed to tabling, raise your hands.
And the motion to table it has been defeated. And we will now go back to voting on the original resolution. So it's been moved. Is there any other further discussion on the resolution number 57? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Show Barry opposed, and the resolution carries.
Okay, resolution number 60-2026 is resolution in opposition to New York State energy policies that result in excessive utility rate increases and urging reform to protect ratepayers.
Moved by Josh, second by Jeff. Discussion.
Yeah, I had a conversation this weekend with one of the biggest sawmills, lumber yards in the county. And he had brought up how he draws a lot of electricity. He's got a kiln, he's got a dryer, and he's got a whole nother new building. And his electric bill was $11,000 in November, December area. January, February, it was 24,000. Things like this, and if you follow the path, I got a economic matrix. If you follow that path, it's all going to come back to the homeowner, every bit of this. The county's electricity goes up. They're going to pass it through taxes to cover that. We'll indirectly have an increase from the county. The businesses' electricity goes up. They're going to raise their prices. They're probably going to lose business. So this whole thing, I think this resolution is like the first step, but there's a lot of digging that's got to be done. I have a shovel.
Anything else? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries.
Resolution number 61-2026, resolution in opposition to New York State Renewable Action through Project Interconnection and Deployment Act regulations.
Moved by Herb, second by Vince. Discussion. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries.
Resolution number 62-2026, resolution in support of Fort Drum as a candidate site for the Department of Defense's Advanced Nuclear Micro-Reactor Initiative.
Moved by Vince, second by Mike. Discussion.
Yeah, Fort Drum is in the running. As of right now, all their electricity comes in from off post. They're held, more like Tom says, hostage to everybody else producing electricity. They're one of 6 facilities that are still in the running for this micro reactor. They have the infrastructure pretty much all set up. What they would like is to have community support shown for them. And that's all we're asking, is that the community support them in their initiative to get this project in, which would also be construction costs and whatnot would be in the area as well.
Anything else?
And I would add to Vinnie's comment, when they had the cogen plant there, burning bark, they did supply electricity to most of all Evans Mills when they had a power outage. So they have excess that they actually can share and spread out.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries.
Resolution number 63-2026, resolution amending Lewis County Employment Meal Policy.
Someone like to move it, please? Josh, second by Vince. Discussion.
I think section 3 ought to be changed for the legislator and county managers. When we're in the Lewis County, we should pay for our own meals. I think that should be added. Outside of the county, when you're on a trip or something, yes, I can see it.
Okay, so would you like to make a motion to amend this?
Yes.
Do I have a second? Tom Kalmus.
Can we just state on the record exactly what the amendment is?
Inside the county borders, you pay for your own meal.
Anyone like to offer any comments? All in favor of amending this to show that the legislators and the county manager pay for their own meals in the county, within the county borders? Do anyone all in favor of doing that? Anyone opposed? So that amendment carries. Back to the amended resolution. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That carries.
Resolution number 68-2026, resolution regarding secra review of the addition of 580 feet of new trail into the Lewis County Trail System and declaring no significant impact regarding the Jeffrey G. Nellenbach irrevocable trust property.
Moved by Tom Osborne, second by Herb. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I wish to recuse myself from this because it involves my property.
Please reflect that in the minutes. Anything else?
I thought we agreed that there'd be maps brought forth with these from now on.
I believe the map went when you received the introductory local law. That was the month before.
There was none in line.
It was through a separate email. It was not included in the packet.
Anything else? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Joe Barry opposed, and it carries.
Resolution number 69-2026, resolution to add 580 feet of new trail to the Lewis County Trail System regarding Jeffrey G. Nellenbach irrevocable trust property.
Someone like to move it? Tom Osborne. Do I have a second? Josh Levicker. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I wish to recuse myself again because it involves my property.
Please note that in the minutes. Is there anything else? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Joe Barry opposed, and the motion carries. Resolution carries.
The next one is resolution number 70-2026, resolution adopting and otherwise treating local law number 1-2026, County of Lewis.
Moved by Herb. Do I have a second? Jessica? Any discussion? And this is a roll call.
Legislator Calamus.
Yes.
Legislator Leindecker.
No.
Legislator Hanno.
Yes.
Legislator Nellenbach.
Yes.
Legislator Frost.
Yes.
Legislator Mosier.
Yes.
Legislator Nortz.
Yes.
Legislator Levicker.
Yes.
Legislator Osborne.
Yes.
Legislator Dahlhoff.
Yes. And that carries.
Resolution number 71-2026, resolution adopting and otherwise treating local law number 2-2026, County of Lewis.
Moved by Herb. Do I have a second? Jessica? Discussion.
Kevin Emmerich's land, isn't that the Hideaway? So we're opening a bar parking lot as part of our.
Anything else? This is roll call.
Legislator Mosier.
Yes.
Legislator Nortz.
Yes.
Legislator Leindecker.
No.
Legislator Frost.
Yes.
Legislator Levicker.
Yes.
Legislator Hanno.
Yes.
Legislator Nellenbach.
Yes.
Legislator Osborne.
Yes.
Legislator Calamus.
Yes.
And Legislator Dahlhoff.
Yes, that carries.
Resolution number 78-2026, resolution authorizing the formation of the Lewis County Land Bank Corporation.
Someone like to move that? Herb, and second by Jeff. Discussion.
Mr. Chairperson, I move to amend section 6, line 6 of the resolution to remove the TBD and list Kim Vogt as the District 3 member for an initial term of 2 years.
Moved by Jess. Do I have a second for the amendment? Vince, discussion. All in favor of the amendment? Anyone opposed? Amendment carries, is approved, and we're back to the amended resolution. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries.
The last resolution is the late resolution, number 79-2026, resolution authorizing and ratifying tentative agreement and final contract between the County of Lewis and Local 825 of the Civil Service Employees Association Incorporated, which is the Sheriff's Employees Unit, number 7250-03.
Someone like to move it? Tom Kalmus, second by Mike. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That resolution carries. Do we have any other business anyone would like to bring forth? If not, we need an executive session. I'd like to request someone move that. Josh, second by Mike. So we're about to enter executive session, and I would like the county attorney, the county manager, and the clerk to join that executive session for matters pertaining to the employment of a particular person. Treasurer as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We're in executive session.